We're having a successful children-only brunch, my aunt announced in the group chat. Greg, you're not invited. No offense. I'd just been laid off. My cousins, a lawyer, a doctor, and engineer, were invited. None taken, I replied. 18 months later, when I founded a startup, raised $4.7 million in funding, and got featured in Entrepreneur magazine, I hosted my own brunch. The invite list was noticeably short. The group chat lit up while I was trying to convince my 5-year-old to eat half a banana. It was 10:17 a.m. on a Saturday in my parents' kitchen in Columbus, Ohio. My laptop was open on the table, LinkedIn on one side. Oh, we're sorry. Due to recent restructuring, email still visible on the other. My son Max sat across from me in his Spider-Man pajamas, tapping his crayons in a line. My phone buzzed 3 times in a row. Family brunch. Aunt and good morning team reminder that next Sunday we're having a successful children-only brunch at Liardin. She tagged people like it was a corporate memo. My 3 cousins, the family trophy case. I watched the typing bubble blink, disappear, blink again. And we just want to celebrate the kids who are really thriving right now. Nothing personal to anyone else. My face went hot, my hands went cold. Max looked up, noticed, went quiet in that way he'd started doing whenever adults got weird. Another message popped up. And Greg, you're not invited. No offense. Once you're back on your feet, we'll do a bigger thing. My brain did this slow, stupid thing where it tried to find another meaning. Not invited. No offense? I stared at the screen so hard the words blurred. My mom stood at the sink, rinsing a mug that was already clean. The kitchen felt suddenly smaller, like the air was getting used up. More messages. Lena. All fun. Can't wait, Mark. Proud of everyone. Thanks, Anon. Evan, sounds good to me. Of course. Max swung his legs under the chair. Daddy, he asked, are we going to the brunch? My throat went dry. No, bud, I said, we're doing our own thing. He frowned. Are we not successful? Successful? I corrected automatically. The word felt like a punch. We're just doing different stuff right now. And, Greg, you understand, right? It would just be kind of awkward. We don't want to pressure you when you're between things. Be realistic. That was her thing, sounding reasonable while slicing you open. My mom finally turned around. She's just trying to motivate you, she said softly. Your cousins worked very hard, Gregory. I worked hard, I said. My voice came out flatter than I meant. Dad didn't turn around. Well, it didn't stick, he muttered like a joke. No one laughed. Max picked up his crayon again, but stopped drawing. He just pressed the tip into the paper until it snapped. He flinched at the sound. My phone buzzed again. And tell Max I'll take him when we do a kid-friendly thing. This one is for winners only. I stared at that line until my vision went sharp again. Winners only. Something in my chest did a slow, controlled twist. I didn't scream. I didn't call her. I took a screenshot, saved it to a folder called Receipts, and renamed my resume file from Greg Johnson _PM_FAL_4 to Greg Understands Never For Again. I'm Gregory Johnson, 32, former product manager, accidental single dad, current boomerang child living in his parents' spare room in Columbus. At least that's who I was the morning my aunt decided my worth was measured in billable hours and LinkedIn titles. Before the layoff, I worked at a mid-sized SAS company downtown, the kind with cold brew on tap and we're a family culture, which should have been my first warning. I made $18,000 a year, which in my family meant I was doing fine, but also mysteriously failing whenever my cousins were in the room. My cousins were the scoreboard. Lena, 34, cardiologist. Mark, 36, corporate attorney. Evan, 30, structural engineer who talked about bridges like they were his children. I was good with computers. It made that sound like I fixed printers at Best Buy. She'd helped pay for my college, $800 spread over 2 years, and never let me forget it. Family invests in family, she loved to say. We just expect a return in the form of pride. Pride looked a lot like control. The pattern started way before the layoff. I still remember junior year of high school SAT results day. We were at my grandparents' house. The table was covered in Costco sheet cake and college brochures. Lena waved her score report like a medal. 1520, she announced. Everyone clapped like she'd cured cancer in the kitchen and turned to me. And you, Greg? 1,280, I said. I was actually proud of it for exactly 4 seconds. Her smile didn't slip. Well, that's solid, she said. Not everyone can be top tier. We need people who try hard, too. Everyone laughed so lightly you could almost pretend it was harmless. I learned to laugh with them. I also learned to swallow. Years later, when Max was born, things temporarily softened. I was 27, terrified, and suddenly responsible for a 6 PB person who made goat noises in his sleep. His mom lasted 9 months of that and then decided motherhood wasn't for her. "It's not you," she said, crying in the parking lot of our apartment. "It's this whole life." So it was me and Max. She showed up with a carload of baby stuff and a speech. "We'll help," she said, patting a box of diapers like it was a contract. "Family helps, but you need to think long-term. Stability, real career, no more little side projects." I nodded, exhausted, grateful. A month later, when I asked to borrow $200 for groceries after Max got sick and my PTO ran out, she gave it to me. And then she told the story at Thanksgiving. And of course, we helped, she said, carving the turkey like a CEO, slicing budget items. But it's just not sustainable when someone can't manage their choices. Everyone looked at me. I focused on cutting Max's food into tiny squares he didn't eat. He watched her with that solemn baby stare. The thing about kids is they absorb who's above them before they can spell it. The family language was everywhere. Let's keep things smooth. Don't make a scene. Family helps winners. Be realistic. Anytime I wanted something, time, money, basic respect, it somehow threatened smooth. When I got the email about the layoff, I knew exactly what words were coming before anyone said them. I was at my desk surrounded by plants my coworkers abandoned that morning. The subject line hit. Important update regarding your role. My brain counted the sentences before the word, unfortunately. I drove straight to my parents' house, tailbone buzzing from adrenaline. Max was at preschool. I sat at their kitchen table, the same one I grew up at, and told them. Mom covered her mouth. "Oh, Greg." Dad shrugged. "You'll find something. You're smart." It almost felt kind for about 30 seconds. Then Dad asked, "How long is severance?" 3 months, I said. He nodded like that was a timer. She came over that night with takeout and a look on her face like she was arriving for a consultation. "This might be a blessing," she said. "Now you can aim higher." "I like my job," I said. She waved that away. "You were stagnating. You need to think like Mark, like Lena. They didn't get you get where they are by clinging to comfort." Translation, layoffs were my fault for not being more like her children. I told myself it was temporary. The debt, the moving back home, the way my son's car seat ended up in my parents' garage instead of our own garage. I thought it was temporary. I told myself that at 2 a.m., scrolling job postings while Max snored beside me on the futon. It wasn't. Every time I needed help with childcare so I could interview, it came with a lecture. Every time I mentioned a startup idea, an app I'd tinkered with for years that helped small businesses manage customer feedback, she would say, "That's cute, but your son needs security, not experiments." The odd part, I believed her more than I believed myself for a long time. Until the brunch message. Until I watched my kid snap a crayon in half because he thought we weren't successful enough to eat pancakes with our own family. That was the first time the word temporary started to feel like a lie. The brunch itself was worse than the invite. I didn't go, obviously, but Instagram did. That Sunday, my feed was a highlight reel of clinking glasses, avocado toast, and my aunt's caption celebrating our hardworking, high-achieving next generation. So proud of my doctor, lawyer, and engineer. No mention of me. No mention of the kid who was currently building a tower out of cereal boxes in my parents' living room. Max climbed onto my lap, sticky hands and all. "That's Cousin Lena," he said, pointing. "Is that the successful brunch?" "Yep," I said. "Why are we not there?" "Because we're eating pizza rolls," I said. "Way superior." He laughed, but it was thin. Wave one of the pressure started the next day. She called while I was on my 10th job application of the morning. "Hey, champ," she said. "No one who calls you champ at 32 thinks you're winning." "Hey," I said. "I wanted to make sure you weren't taking the brunch thing personally," she said. "It was just meant to light a fire under you." Calling my cousins real winners and excluding me as motivational? She sighed. "Greg, you have a child. You can't afford pride. I did you a favor by being honest." I stared at the "your application has been received" screen and felt my jaw clench. "What do you want?" I asked. She didn't even pretend it was nothing. "I know someone at Horizon Logistics downtown. They need operations people. Solid salary, good benefits. I can probably get you an interview." "Probably." "There's a catch," I said. "There's an expectation," she corrected. "If I stake my reputation on you again, I need to know you're going to commit. No more side hustle nonsense, no more app ideas, no more, maybe I'll start something. You get a stable job, you work your way up, you make us proud. You be predictable." My app open in another tab suddenly felt like contraband. "I'm not a teenager," I said. "You're a father living in your parents' house," she said, voice turning sharp. "Let's not play pretend." My teeth itched. "I'll think about it," I said. "You'll say yes or no by Friday," she replied. Real adults can commit to a plan. When we hung up, I opened the Notes app where for 2 years I'd been adding ideas for the startup, features, pricing models, notes from the one small business owner who beta tested a janky version and said, "If you ever make this real, I'll pay for it." I stared at the blinking cursor. Then I opened Google Drive and created a new folder. Receipts. And I dragged the brunch screenshots in. The call summary. I typed out right after the text where she wrote real winners. I didn't know what I had used them for. I just knew I was done relying on memory and arguments with people who edited reality in real time. By Friday, I'd made a decision. I turned down her probably interview. Instead, I cashed out my 401k, what was left of it, took my severance, and sat down with my friend Maya at a Starbucks that smelled like burnt espresso and regret. Maya was a back-end engineer I'd worked with at my old company. She'd been laid off too. "You're serious?" she asked after I laid it out. "Half serious, half terrified," I said. She looked at my mock-ups, the scribbled wireframes. "It's not a bad idea," she said. "Small businesses are flying blind on feedback. If we could make this usable." "We can't," I said, "if we go all in." We spent 3 hours breaking my idea into something that looked like a product roadmap. Then we drafted a tiny, naive pitch deck. I went home exhilarated and nauseous. That night, I told my parents. Mom wrung her hands. "A startup, Gregory, now?" Dad shook his head. "Do you have any idea how many businesses fail? Do you have any idea how many people I've watched get laid off from stable jobs?" I shot back. They both glanced at Max, asleep on the couch. "You're gambling with his future," Dad said. I felt it like a slap. Then wave 2 hit. She called the next morning before I'd even had coffee. "I heard you turned down Horizon," she said, "and you're doing some app thing instead." "Who told you?" "Your parents are worried," she said, ignoring the question. And honestly, so am I. She launched into a speech about statistics, about failure rates, about delusions of grandeur. Then she dropped the actual grenade. "I've been subsidizing your rent for 3 months, she said. "You know that, right?" I blinked. "What?" "The little discount your parents gave you on the family rate. That difference has been coming out of my pocket because I believe in supporting family. News to me." "I can't keep doing that for someone who won't help himself," she said. "So starting next month, the rent goes to market, $1,300 to $1,800. It's still generous considering the neighborhood." "That's a $500 jump," I said. "I'm building something. I don't even have customers yet." "Then maybe you should get a real job in the meantime," she said. "Are you trying to force me into Horizon?" "I'm trying to get you to grow up," she snapped. "I can't subsidize you playing CEO." Max was in the hallway pretending to drive his toy car along the wall. He'd stopped making engine noises. He was listening. "Okay," I said slowly. "So, just to be clear, are you raising the rent to $1,800 next month?" She huffed. "Don't make this adversarial. We're all just doing our best. It depends how things look. Let's just say somewhere in that range. I need an actual number." "And don't be so rigid," she said. "Life is about being flexible. We're helping you. Helping by making my housing unpredictable." When I hung up, I found Max sitting on the floor, car in his hands, staring at the wall. "Are we in trouble?" he asked quietly. "No," I said. "We're just changing plans." That night, after he went to sleep, I logged into my bank account and took another screenshot. Then I wrote everything down. Dates, amounts, exact phrases. That's when I stopped arguing and started documenting. I wrote at the top of a new note. 2 weeks later, Maya and I got into a tiny local accelerator. 10 startups, 10 weeks, a bit of funding, a lot of pressure. I sent a text when she heard. "And so you got into a little program? That's cute. But call me when you have real numbers." I took another screenshot. Every cute, every be realistic. Every time she called, my startup playing CEO went into the receipts folder. By the time Max turned 6, we had a product in beta, 3 paying customers, and more month left than money. But for the first time in years, the thing keeping me up at night wasn't shame. It was possibility. 18 months after the winner's only brunch, a VC in a black turtleneck wired $4.7 million into a bank account with my name on it. Well, technically the startup's name, but close enough. Maya and I stood in the tiny co-working conference room, staring at the confirmation. "That's a lot of zeros," she said. Max, now 6.5, was sitting in the corner with his Switch, feet swinging, half watching us. "Are we successful now?" he asked. I laughed, but my eyes stung. "Yeah, buddy," I said, "we're successful now." A week later, an Entrepreneur magazine writer who'd seen our accelerator demo published a piece about the laid-off PM who turned customer complaints into a startup. There was a photo of me and Maya in it, both of us trying not to look like we'd slept 4 hours a night for a year. My inbox exploded. Old coworkers, random LinkedIn dudes, and Anne emailed first. Subject, so proud. "Greg, just read the article, congratulations. I always knew you had it in you once you got serious. We should do a brunch to celebrate your success and talk about how to bring this into the family office. Your cousins have skills you could really leverage. Lena could help with health partnerships. Mark can advise on the legal side. Evan's between roles right now and would make a fantastic COO. Let's get something on the calendar. Love, Anne." I read it 3 times. The audacity was almost elegant. Then Mom called. She was so excited. She said she's really happy things turned around for you. Things didn't turn around by themselves, I said. I worked unbelievably hard. I know, honey, she said quickly. Of course. We're just saying it would mean a lot to your cousins if you included them. You know how important family helps family is. That phrase again. Suddenly back in rotation. Max was at the table drawing on the back of one of our old pitch decks. He'd written everyone's names in wobbly letters. Daddy. Maximums. Maya. Then a line of little hearts. I looked at that. Then at my mother's name on my phone. Then at Anne's email. Mom, I said carefully. Do you remember last year when Anne said Max could come to the winners only brunch once I got back on my feet? She hesitated. She was just stressed. Do you remember? I repeated. Yes, she said quietly. And when she jacked up my rent because I wouldn't take the job she wanted. That was complicated. It was leverage, I said. And I'm not doing that again. Silence. Greg, don't throw away your family over hurt feelings, she said finally. They always called it feelings. Like that was all it was. Don't worry, I said. I'm not throwing anything away. I was collecting it. That night, I sat at my desk and opened the receipts folder. It was full. Screenshots, texts, voicemails. I transcribed the brunch invite, the rent threat, the playing CEO line. Then I opened another folder. Legal. Maya's older brother, Rob, was a lawyer. He'd been quietly sending me templates for months. Founders' agreements, equity splits, and one more thing. Geek. A will and guardianship packet. Founders with kids need this, he'd said. If you get hit by a bus and your company is worth anything, sharks show up. Sometimes they're related to you. I'd laughed at the time. I wasn't laughing now. The next afternoon, I sat in a small law office that smelled like paper and coffee. Rob slid documents across the table. Okay, he said, here's the guardianship clause. I read it. In the event of my death or incapacitation, I designate Maya Rivera as the primary guardian of my son, Maxwell James Johnson. I explicitly exclude Ann Whitaker and her descendants from any custodial or financial authority over my son or my estate. The words landed like a gavel in my brain. Is that too harsh? I asked. Is it true? Rob asked. Yes. Then it's accurate, he said. And it's written. That's what matters. He added the company clause. If anything happened to me, my shares would go into a trust for Max, managed by Maya and an independent trustee. No room for a family to swoop in and claim my work for optics. I signed with a hand that only shook a little. Rob notarized everything, stamped it, and slid a copy into a thick folder. Congratulations, he said. You're officially boringly responsible. On my way out, I texted Maya. Me. All signed. If I get hit by a bus, you're stuck with Max. Maya. He likes Pokemon and chicken nuggets. I'll manage. When I got back to the office, the team was setting up a little celebration. Not the whole team. There were 8 of us now. Enough people to make a room feel full. Surprise, Maya said when I walked in. There were bagels and sparkling water, because we weren't actually rich yet. Max was there too. Perched on a chair, knees bouncing. He wore the one button-down shirt he owned. Daddy, he said, is this our successful brunch? I looked at the table, at my team, at the entrepreneur article printed out and taped crookedly to the whiteboard. Yeah, I said, this is our successful brunch. The next day, I created a new e-calendar event. Brunch. Successful children only. Location, Liarden. Same place she'd used. Guests. Me. Max. Our team. 2 friends who'd babysat when I couldn't afford to pay them. The neighbor who brought us groceries when my card declined. No extended family. The invite list was noticeably short on purpose. While the RSVPs came in, little can't wait, and so proud of you notes that didn't hurt. I drafted one more thing. A message in the family group chat. I didn't do a speech. I didn't write paragraphs about my feelings. I attached a photo of the entrepreneur article. A screenshot of the $4.7 million wire, account numbers blurred, and a redacted copy of the guardianship clause. Then I typed one sentence for clarity. I'm doing well. Max is safe. And effective immediately, none of you are involved in my finances, my business, or my child's life or care in any capacity. My thumb hovered for half a second. Then I hit send. The read receipts lit up like a Christmas tree. Anne, Gregory, what is this? Dad, this is disrespectful. Mark, this feels unnecessary. We're family. Lena, you're overreacting. We were just trying to push you. Evan, dude. I didn't reply. 30 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A call from Anne. I let it go to voicemail. Then another from my mom. Another from Dad. Someone pounded on the office door downstairs. Maya peeked through the glass. It's a woman in a blazer who looks furious, she said. I didn't have to ask who. Tell her we're in meetings, I said. That's not technically true. I'm the CEO, I said. Make it technically. Maya snorted and walked away. For the first time in my life, I had something stronger than their disapproval. I had boundaries and paperwork and brunch plans that did not involve being measured. I picked up Max from school that afternoon. On the way out, I stopped at the office and updated his emergency contact form. Under who is allowed to pick up this child, I left my name and Maya's. Then I drew a line through grandparents and other relatives. The secretary glanced at it. Big changes? She asked. Big protections, I said. It felt like closing the door that had been hanging open for too long. Our brunch wasn't fancy. Liardon looked different when I wasn't imagining my aunt judging every plate. They sat us at one long table by the window. 8 adults, 1 kid, a lot of light. Maya raised her mimosa. To Greg and Max, she said, for being too stubborn to quit. Glasses clinked. Max tapped his orange juice against mine like it was a big ceremony. Are we the successful children now? He asked. Yeah, I said. Everyone at this table is. He thought about it, then smiled and went back to his pancakes. His shoulders looked looser, like he wasn't waiting to be judged anymore. That felt better than any article or wire transfer. 2 weeks later, my mom showed up at our new 2-bedroom near the office holding a Tupperware of lasagna. Can we talk? She asked. Max was at the table with his Legos, listening without looking. I've got 10 minutes, I said. She sat on the couch. This place is nice. You've done well. Your father is upset. Anne is furious. They feel blindsided. They've been blindsiding me for 32 years, I said. You know they love you, she whispered. They love what I represent when I make them look good. That's different. I asked if she remembered the winners only brunch and how Max was conditionally invited. She nodded, crying. I'm not doing that to him, I said. He doesn't audition for love. Not from me, not from anyone. I miss you. I miss Max. Hold on, Miss Max. You're welcome in our life if you're kind and done ranking us. I won't trade his safety for their comfort. A month later, Anne emailed offering a big family brunch at Liardon to clear the air. No apology, just logistics, I replied. We won't be attending? Access to me and my son is not a family, right? It's a privilege based on respect. Take care, Greg. Then I closed the laptop and went to help Max find the missing wheel for his Lego spaceship. Our life now is small and big at the same time. A small circle, a big piece. People who show up without keeping score. When people ask about my family, I say, my son and I have a good life. We're building something. The people who get to be part of it are the ones who don't need us to shrink. And if anyone tries to make us audition for basic kindness, I can look them in the eye and say, calmly and completely, I'm not available for that.